Hello everyone, I'm Mike Levin of Mike Levin SEO, out on the morning dog walk again, and I thought since I'm an SEO I'd go meta a little bit this morning. So meta is a word that's thrown around with meta tags and metadata, and what is that really? Well, the truth is it's about reflection upon itself. Meta stands for this kind of self-referential, outside the system kind of thing, which people come to take as invisible extra data like meta keyword and meta description tags, but really it's in a much more reflective sense, as in the Lisp programming language, where the programming language and the data structure format are the same. Therefore you can create meta processes where the programming alters the data, and you can create applications that are just not possible in many other ways. Like Paul Graham likes to talk about that there's things you can create with Lisp that you just can't create any other way. So that's what meta is. So in the sense of self-reflection, I thought I'd talk about these morning walks for a minute. What's going on here? Well, it comes down to a principle that was once stated by Paul Cialdini. I'm not sure exactly how his last name is spelled, but he's one of these original marketing gurus, although he bills himself as sales. But it's all about influence and persuasion, and in this case it's self-influence and self-persuasion. It might also be called a life hack, but it's the principle of commitment and consistency, whereby if you state your intentions in some location where you think peers that you care about, their opinions, will be looking at it, you're more likely to do what you said you were going to do. The example he gives is if you sign a petition that's going around in your neighborhood, you know your neighbors are going to see your signature on that petition, and you're more likely to stand by the cause that it's about. Well, likewise here, I'm stating what I'm going to be doing, and I know I have the capability of doing it. I've done big projects several times in the past, and the missing component is the gumption, the drive, the day-to-day continuation of momentum to stay on track, on task, and get the work done. And so I'm doing these videos. The morning thoughts, it helps me gather and collect my thoughts. Of course, I'm killing more than one bird with the stone. Other things that I'm doing are speaking out loud. When you convert your sort of amorphous thoughts that you think are much more precise in your head than they really are, when you force them through the language center of your brain and make yourself articulate those thoughts, you know the thoughts better, you explore them, you see facets and details you didn't catch before, and it's very related to writing. What I'm doing now is a lot like the writing journals that I've kept since I was, I guess, 18 years old. 1988 was my first journal, coming out of high school when there were lots of changes. I was hired by Commodore. My lifelong pet recently passed. I was moving out of the house I grew up in for the first time. All kinds of changes. Started keeping a daily journal. Bam! Realized it was this meta process. And what happens in your head has been stated probably a lot of different ways, a lot of different places. One that comes to mind is a book called The Artist's Way that tells you to keep a half-hour daily artist journal. And that author gives the warning that at first you'll gradually go crazy, and then you'll come to know yourself much better than you ever did before. And I firmly believe that, and it takes care a lot of these, having your, head screwed on tight issues. You think about things you never thought you needed to think about. And, sleeping and dreams takes care of a lot of that, because your subconscious isn't going to let you get away with ignoring the things you can't be ignoring. So the rest of your brain, everything other than your frontal cortex, which takes care of conscious thought, is looking out for you. That's good, but who remembers their dreams? Who takes away those lessons? It's kind of like a cumulative subconscious thing that gives you nagging feelings. Thank you very much, dreams. But isn't it better when you ferret these things out with your conscious mind so that you can act on them in that very same day? I think it is, and therefore the morning thoughts. And what are my morning thoughts now? I guess I won't go too long on the SEO industry and what I'm doing, but I guess I will give a few words. I need to get my head into a different place now that I've done all this foundation building. I was saying tool building, but I didn't get to the tools. I did the foundation, the stuff the place where my code is gonna execute, the context, the languages I'll be using, and I love that stuff, and I could go on that stuff forever, but I can't anymore. I got to start thinking about actually my livelihood in a more direct sense, and things have momentum. If I started a project this morning, that project would consume the whole day. Everything you do is a direct result of what you're doing right now. It's a continuum of time. So the decision of what you're going to do right now, at this moment, this next moment coming up, is the most important decision you can make all day, because that's going to lead to the next, lead to the next, lead to the next. So if what you decide to do is sit down on Facebook or do some other project you're more interested in, you've just sabotaged the day. So I need to go into the office and hit the right projects for the right reason, use an extraordinary amount of self-discipline to do that. And the largest indulgence I'm going to allow myself is maybe do one whiteboard of what I've accomplished so far with my quote tool building and why. Probably 2 columns, the left column being what, like Raspberry Pi, Arch Linux, Pi Green, Flask, the Mako templates, and then on the why would be things like, for example, with the Mako templates, it would be to get PHP style web development with Python, and to get templates with an inheritance system, and so on. But I will have to stop there. That'll just sum up what my tool building was about. It'll serve an important function of answering the questions of what have you been doing, why did you have to take this month of July to prepare, and where are your tools? Well, my tools will come in time, but I can sit down and just know how to make them. I've reduced all the friction that's present in how to get started, and that's a very important thing, because if I just jumped onto the most convenient thing to program on, I'd be sabotaging myself in another way in the long term. You can sabotage yourself for the day, you can sabotage yourself for the next 5 years. And July went into making sure that I'm not sabotaging myself for the next 5 years, and that the things that I'm doing are directly useful for me, incredibly useful to the world at large, and idiosyncratically different enough to not be just another person jumping onto the Node.js bandwagon, and I can give a little contrarian opinions on things, and tap into the activities of a number of different tribes that already exist and are out there, like the Raspberry Pi and Python people, and even Arch Linux. Going old school, taking away the even option of firing up a desktop like GNOME or KDE, even for remote desktop login to your servers. I've cut that option off almost entirely, because let's try and see you first install X and then install GNOME on Arch Linux on a Raspberry Pi. I've made that old school decision a core principle of the work I'm doing and the education I'm trying to instill into folks out there. A better way that prepares you for the Internet of Things to come. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. You know, this is my dog, Cecil, the Bouvier de Flanders. Awesome dog. And thanks for joining me, and I hope to talk to you soon. And don't forget to share the video and subscribe.